Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank you for joining me for Nurturing Conversations. I am your host, Shell. Also known as Shell. Right now, I want to say thank you to the channel members, Journey with Kiki, Kimberly Davis. Happy 1178 and lovely Samira. Thank you all for your love and support. If you would like, you could feel free to join the channel while you're here. If you could hit the thumbs up button, I would greatly appreciate that. That helps me to stay suggested by the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure that if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that follow button. Coming up next is a disclaimer. One moment, please. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome back. If you are a returning supporter, I'm here to give you the disclaimers for this here live. Listen, I do not tolerate disrespect. That's in any way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it's towards me, towards anyone that appears on the screen, towards anyone that appears in the chat. If you have not decided to be a better person, most people will tell you to leave, but I'm going to tell you to stick around because maybe something that is said today will encourage you to do so. Now, I am not a mental health professional. I am just one woman willing to share my personal experiences to let you know two things. One, you are not alone, regardless of how much you feel like you are alone, how many times you have felt that, you are not alone. And number two, you can overcome anything that life throws at you. There will be curse words, there will possibly be tears, but knowing me, it probably will be. And my opinions are my opinions. Your opinions are your opinions. We are here to have a nurturing conversations in regards to our opinions so that we will have a better understanding of each other. That's all I got for right now. I hope that you enjoy this nurturing conversation. Let's get to it. Wait. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button that helps me say suggested on YouTube. Make sure that you type in the chat, also leave a comment, and share it with your friends. That's all I got. Let's get into this conversation. I love you. Peace. There we go. Hello, beautiful people. Okay, I have this thing where sometimes I forget to unmute myself. I'm figuring it all out, y'all. I'm pulling it all together. I'm figuring it all out. Welcome. This is the Nurturing Conversation podcast where we have a nurturing conversation about taboo topics or topics that people aren't comfortable talking about. As you can tell, I'm quite comfortable talking about it. So here we are. Sorry, y'all. It looked like I got a little. Okay. Tonight's topic is generational choices. Generational choices. It's the choices that we make that determine the kind of life we will have. I know a lot of us may be familiar with generational curses, which are things that are passed down. Excuse me, things that are passed down during throughout the generations. Let me apologize right now because my speech has been a little affected today. So I'm okay. My speech is just a little affected. So generational curses or generational choices is slightly different from generational curses in the fact that um, people or we all have the ability to change our life. We all have the ability to change our life, and sometimes it comes down to the choices that we make. Um, when I was thinking, a lot of the topics, let me start there. A lot of the topics that I talk about on the Nurturing Conversation podcast are things that I've experienced in my life. So, as I said in my disclaimer, I'm not a mental health professional. I am not a therapist. I'm not any one of those things. I'm just somebody to say, hey, if I'm dealing with this or I have went through this or overcome this, I'm pretty sure there's somebody else in this world going through it. You might not be going through the exact same thing that I went through, but I mean, we all need to hear stories of people overcoming. So when I started thinking about generational choices, right? Um, I thought about the choices that were made for me in my life. Currently, I am on a journey of healing and self discovery. And the more I say that, I feel like life is a journey. So I'm on a lifelong journey of healing and self discovery. Um, So on this journey, I've come to realize how many of the decisions, hello, many of the decisions that I made in my life was as a result of something that I experienced. Not as a result of a curse or something that was like thrust upon me, shall I say? But they were made of out of things that I have experienced. For example, a lot of the decisions I made in regards to like love or in regards to like relationships um, were more so based on me wanting to feel love or wanting to feel wanted or wanted to feel or not being rejected. And so a lot of the situations where I knew they weren't good, I stayed in there because I didn't want to have that feeling. I didn't want to I'd experienced it from my parents and I didn't want to experience it from the person that I was in a relationship with. So I just tolerated all kinds of things just because I didn't want to feel rejection. And so then I started to think about like how much of the things that my life experiences correlated with my mother's and my grandmother's. Um, and then I realized like my grandmother never got married. My mother never got married, but I got married. And then I had strong reservations about being married. Mainly because I personally feel now a lot of these I probably should have said this in a disclaimer, but a lot of my opinions I'm going to express from my opinions. But you're here because you can talk about, you can chime in and express, and I do have the ability to bring you on camera. So if you want to come on camera, I just ask that you don't do anything weird because we have had people do weird things. Um, but a lot of the choices, um, like my grandmother's choice to even move from Mississippi to come to Wisconsin, um, was something for me. When looking back, it was like, okay, had she not migrated from the South to here, what would my life? Would I even exist? Would I even have the opportunities that I have? Right. And so then, even when you think about um, the choices you make on a daily basis, right? Like right now, we're in a global pandemic, right? And there's so many other things going on in the world that we're definitely going to get to during this conversation because it involves generational choices. Um, I thought about like my grandmother made the um, I say it's the greatest decision. My grandmother had the opportunity to go to California and be great. I'll say that. She had the opportunity to go to California and be great. And she chose to um, take care of her family. She chose to put her family before her um, dreams, hopes, and aspirations. And she chose to take care of her family and thus begot me. Or here I am because she made the decision not to go there. And I wondered, like, what if she would have married the person that she was dating? What if she would have went to California and just been successful? Like, would I be here? Would my mom even be here? Like, how different would life be? You know? Um, I think about the choices that my mom made. Like, sorry, I got emotional when before I even said that. The choices that my mom made, joining a church. The choices my mom made becoming a member of a church. Um, I I be preparing for these topics, but sometimes I don't think you could ever prepare for how you're going to respond. You can try, but that's just my opinion. I don't think you ever can prepare. So I say, um, looking at my life, like I really feel like I was um, privileged, and not so far as like wealth or like riches, but as far as like having people who love and care and want to know what's going on with me and want to talk to me and want to see me do good. So I feel like I was privileged in that manner. And then I feel like um, My mom's choices, because whether we believe it or not, our choices affect other people's um, decisions. And I'm definitely going to touch on this because parents, if you are a parent, no, I do not have kids, but your choices directly affect your kids' decisions a lot of times. Even grown, like I'm an adult, right? But my decisions definitely affect my mother's, especially my mother, especially now, given her current state. Um, but my mother's decision to join the church drastically changed my entire life. Um, I was able to, be introduced to God, being able to introduce to religion, being able to introduce to it opened me up to a world of things that I was definitely not prepared for. Um, I feel like that choice um, resulted in me being more stubborn. Is stubborn the word I want to put there? I'll just say insert word here, but I'm gonna go with stubborn. In my decision making and more focused on me, more focused on making decisions to protect myself, making decisions that it taught me to it taught me to weigh the good and the bad of circumstances or my decisions. My decision to leave to go to college was partly because I really wanted to get away from the current situation that I was in. It was partly because I wanted to prove people wrong. It was when I think back about it, I made so many decisions. Um, they have a saying where it says, don't make a decision based on a temporary feeling. I made a lot of decisions on temporary feelings because I didn't have anyone to tell me that. It was just, I have to make this decision because I have to protect myself or I have to make sure that I am good. And for me, um, I feel like if I would have had more people like be real, like I know we always be like, be real with me, tell me the truth. But I really want people to be real and tell me the truth. Like if I would have had more people just be like, hey, like I realized in my family, I was the oldest and the only girl for forever. So whatever I wanted to do, nobody ever I lacked discipline. I lacked discipline. Whatever I wanted to do, I was always able to do. Nobody was like, no, don't do that. Or nobody questioned why I did anything. And so I was just doing things where it was just like, so nobody is going to ask me? Nobody. Nobody. Everybody think it's a good idea for me just to get on a plane and go by myself to a place I've never been before and hang out there for 2 weeks. Nobody, no objections. Nope. Well, I guess I jumped out here now, so now I have to go. But my choices, while they were based on temporary situations, often helped me better understand myself. Better understand myself. I I knew I didn't want to be a victim of the things that happened to me. So I knew that the choices that I made, I didn't want them to be, oh, I did this because somebody took my innocence. So I'm only going to do this to because I don't want to become, I don't want to become a victim of that. No, I wanted to become somebody that was just like, yeah, that happened to me, but this is who I am because of that. Not, oh, I'm only doing this because I don't want people to look at me. I don't care how you look at me. Like you're listening right now. You're probably like, is she gonna get to the point? I'm gonna get there. It just takes me this is what I learned. It takes me a few minutes to warm up because if y'all could see how I'm shaking right now, I love to talk, but I gotta warm up. I'm gonna work on it by the end of this year. This is one of the things I want to work on is being able to just flow with it. Just flow with it. I my one of my choices that I made one of my choices that I made um helped me to understand the power that lies within my voice. One of the choices that I made. Because a lot of times when we endure things in our life, we tend to become silent or shut down or become guarded. And I decided in my life, like, I don't want to live in that. Hi, Dolores. I don't want to live in that. I don't want people's um, inability to cope with their situations to, um, I don't want their inability to cope with their situations to cause me to not live my fullest life. I'm figuring that out on the fly. I was trying to figure out how to politically correct say it, but y'all know I just be saying things, so I'm just gonna say it. I didn't want other people's. There, I told you I was gonna be cuss. I don't want other people's shit to become my problem. And I feel like a lot of times in our life, or even with like, if we take the concept of generational curses, right? I feel personally, me personally, I feel like people use generational curses as an excuse as to why they don't make the decision to be better. It's like, oh, well, my mother never finished college, or my father never did, or my grandparents, or nobody in my family has ever did. And so it becomes like, why would I want to do it? Why do I want to be the opposite of everybody else in my family? Or why would I think that I could be rich? Or why do I think that I could do something that no one else in my generations have ever done? And for me, like those things like that fuels me because I would love to be like I love to be the first one in my family to graduate college, like my immediate family, like my grandmother's kids. Like I love that. And not just because it's like, oh, look at me, I got a degree. It was like, no, I gave the people behind me something to look forward to. When I think about generational choices, I think about I wanted to go to school because I wanted to show the people in my family like there is something other to do than just to hang out on the block or hang out, with people that's just like not not trying to move forward. I wanted to show them something other. I wanted to show them like, hey, you can speak up for yourself, regardless of because everybody know we all know that people gonna talk about you whether you rich, whether you poor, whether you got it, whether you're fine, beautiful, tall, short. People gonna talk about you regardless. So I say, give them something to talk about. I don't. I really don't care when it comes to like he say she say. What matters to me the most is what my nieces and nephews or my brothers and my mother, like what they think or how they feel, because what my decisions that I make, it directly affects them. I just next Friday I'm going to go live here, and I'm going to tell you guys the process that I've been going through for the last year with all of my health situations, and it has not been easy. And I sat here and I was like, usually I would just be an island and not tell anybody or not bring anybody in, and it's just I'm fighting these things for myself and I'm carrying all the weight, right? And then I realized that the universe, the deity, whoever you want to put right there, surrounded me by people who love me, surrounded me with people who love me, surrounded me with people who look up to me, who are inspired by me. So I have to make the decision to be a better person. In my disclaimer, I said we are surviving a global fucking pandemic, right? 3 years. Y'all remember 3 years ago when we couldn't go outside, we couldn't talk to people, we couldn't even touch other people. You were in your house with whoever was in your house, wanting to call, wanting to go out, wanting to go to work. We couldn't do nothing. Everybody was in the house, right? And now you think 3 years later, do we still have that same fever? Do we still have that, oh, I want to talk to this person? Or do we still have that, like, man, I just want to go over here and sit with you for a minute to see how you're doing? Or is it like, oh, girl, I'm out here, or man, I'm out here living my best life. I don't got time to do all that because I'm trying to do. I think about when people like the people that was in the pandemic that didn't have the life that I have. And I'm not saying like I'm rich or anything, but like just didn't have the life that I have. They didn't have a safe place to be. That's why they went to work or that's why they went to school. The people that didn't have food at their homes where they had to be, where we had to be 24 hours a day. I think about those people. I think about people that were struggling with their mental health and then we had to be locked in. I think about those people. I think about the choices that we make. Like think about think about the people who experience heartbreak, right? So I experienced heartbreak, and normally when we experience heartbreak, what do? We like finding a new relationship, or we start dating, or we start working out, or we start, losing weight, taking care of ourselves. But for me, I was just like, you know what? I am tired of carrying around burdens, baggage. I'm tired of carrying that around. Um, when I looked back in my life, I always saw my mom as like, I see my mom. I see my mom as um, an amazing person. I was going to say a superhero, but she's real. I see her as an amazing person. I watched her give to people. I watch her help people. I watch her help kids. I watch her do all of these things. And not one time has she ever complained. Not one time has she ever said, I did this for you. You should do this for me. Like nothing. And like when you're growing up, you're like, I don't want to be like my parents. I'm going to go and do all this. I strive to be like my mom, where she like, now, I don't know what she do behind closed doors. I mean, like if she go in her room, I don't know what she do in her room. I don't know if she cuss God. I don't know what she do. But when I see her, all I see her do is give. Give, no complaints. I've seen people do some really horrible stuff to her and then turn around and come to her in need of assistance. And I've seen her give. And I say, you know what? I strive one day to have that level of peace, that level of maturity, that level of understanding. Because it takes a lot of understanding to like do for somebody who has done you wrong. It takes a lot of understanding. So then I start to think about the choices that I make. The choices that I make. 3 years ago, I said I wanted to be nothing but light, love, and positivity. I started meditating. I started working out. I started juicing. I started like feeding myself with positivity, right? I became so overwhelmed positively that I was just like, oh my God, I feel like I literally changed my entire life. And as I was pumping in positivity, right, positive things, I began to be able to point at things in my life that I was holding on to. A couple of weeks ago, I did a podcast and I said, who are you without your traumas? Like, who are you if those things wouldn't happen to you? Who would you be? Now, because those things have happened to you, who are you? Right? That was my question. As I'm asking that question, I started to think about it myself. It's like, you know what? I feel like I have this connection. Um, I feel like I have this connection with human beings, right? Where I don't connect with people on like a hey, what's up? Like I feel like I connect with them via the energy, the vibe. I feel like that's how I connect with people first. And then as we talk or we converse or we hang out, it grows from there. Like somebody asked me, one of my sisters, god sisters, asked me, she said, do you feel like we are a trauma bond? And I said, I didn't I never even knew what happened to you. I felt like we were friends, like we were like magnets before we even knew what happened to each other. I feel like that only made us stronger. So for me, it was like, no, no, I don't. I know some people that I was trauma bonded to. And when you're able to like, when you take the time and like pull back, like you're so like you ever be so in love with somebody and just be like, oh yeah, I'm so in love with you. You make me happy in every sense of the word. And you ever just sit back and think about like, wait, you don't make me happy. I'm just a happy person. Or you ever have a friend, you ever look at them and be like, why are we friends? You ever ask yourself that? You ever ask yourself why you're friends with somebody? I don't think most people ask themselves that. I think they just be friends with people because they know them a long time. You were there when I lost someone. You were we went to high school together, middle school, elementary school. You grew up on the block. Like I think we just be accustomed to hanging around people like that, right? As I got older, as I continue to get older, I realized that a lot of the choices that I make, um, I'm able to determine whether I can deal with the consequences of those decisions. Like, you ever had your mother tell you to be in the house before the street lights came on, and you were like, you know what, you time what time the street lights came on, and you figure like you gonna start walking in right before the street lights come on? You were one of those kids that like challenged or pushed it to the edge. That was me. I was a pusher to the edger. Pusher to the edger. That was me. But then I started to realize, like, perfect example, right? I had this thing, I had this thing where I would procrastinate, right? I will have a project coming up, I will have something due, and I know the date that is due, and I know that anytime that I could turn it in, but I will wait till like the last few seconds to turn it in. Last week, I was sitting here going over some business stuff, getting some stuff together, and I said, why in the hell do I wait till the last minute to turn things in? But while I'm saying that, I realize that my body is like, is it dopamine? I don't know what it is, but like I get excited. I don't know what it is about turning it in at that last little second that makes me so excited. So last week while I was doing it, and I said to myself, you have all this time. You don't have to wait to the last minute. Imagine if you got it in ahead of time, you will have so much more free time to do whatever. And I'm sitting here having a conversation with myself. If you're asking, yes, I do talk to myself. I talk out loud too. I'm having a conversation with myself. It's like, why didn't we do that before? And then I realized that there's something, and it's something that makes me happy. It's like an excitement. It's like a rush when I turn it in that little bitty space. And then when I get the, like, the emails or the rewards or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, I did that. I'm sitting here like, you could have had more time. I'm scolding myself like, you could have more time. You could do this. So then this week came, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not waiting to the end of the day. I'm not waiting to anything. And I'll kid y'all not, I had so much free time. I didn't even know what to do. I slept. I watched TV shows. I'm just sitting here like, if I start doing this more, I'm gonna have a whole bunch of free time on my hands. But it's about your choices, right? Like I'm talking to you about my choice. It's either procrastinate and wait to the last minute, or it's get it done ahead of time. Like in school, we will always get syllabus, right? And I could never for the life of me understand. Like, I get things happen in our lives. I get it. Like if we get a syllabus and it says your research paper on choices is due 2 months from now, right? I never understood how we knew that. And then you see what I just did there? I never understood how we would wait to the last minute to turn it in. I knew why I would do it. I knew why I would do it. Maybe other people were thinking just like me, but I never understood. Like people will really come and be like, oh, well, my dog died, and I'm not being insensitive to people's dog dying. I'm just saying, it's like you had 2 months to get it in. I'm an adult now, and I'm thinking like this. Before it was just like, no, I'm waiting to the last minute because I knew it was that rush. I needed that rush. I need it. I don't need it now because I do it ahead of time, but I needed that rush. And it's like, I don't want to procrastinate. I don't want to wait to the last minute and then something happened to me and then I have to explain. No. I even started to think about when I say light, love, and positivity. It's like, if I, you have you ever heard this? If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. When I grasp the concept of that, like you probably think like, well, that just means if you don't have anything, if you don't want to talk about somebody, don't say no, 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 no. If you have nothing good to say, do not say anything at all. For me, that took a lot. That was a choice where it's like, wait a minute. If I don't have nothing to say, and it's hard because if you know me, I like to talk. If I have nothing good at all to say, don't say anything. So instead of saying anything, I would just say something positive. Like I would say, hey, I wish you the best. I hope that your situation works out for you. I started speaking positivity to those things, right? First, I was not speaking at all. I'm sorry. I'm backing away because I don't want to burp in the mic. First, I wasn't speaking anything at all. And then I just started putting positive affirmations in the place of what I would normally say negative. Like, if you really, I really feel like we all have the opportunity to change our lives. Some of us just don't know that we have the opportunity. I'm hoping that while you're listening to me, you understand that you have the opportunity, nothing but space, time, privilege, opportunity to change your life. Maybe you come from a family full of alcoholics and you don't even like the smell of alcohol makes your stomach hurt. You made the choice not to be an alcoholic. You separated yourself. And I know most people take separation as a bad thing, but you stood separate. You stood 10 toes down on your belief and stand there. A lot of times we don't want to make those decisions because we don't want to be out, we don't want to be away from the group. It is time now to stand on your own 10 toes, your 2 feet, and be who you are. Make the choice to be who you are. Maybe you didn't come from a family where everybody went to college or people started businesses or people even know how to read or write. Maybe you didn't come from a family like that. Do the best that you can to be different. You never know. You might inspire people to read. You might inspire people to learn. You might inspire people to go to school. When I graduated from college, I was super excited because all of my brothers went to college and they were able to decide if college was for them. Many of them didn't. They did a year or two and it was like, college isn't for me. At least we tried it. At least you figured out, you went to college and you figured out, okay, college is cool, but I think I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do this. It was options. I told somebody one day, I was like, I like options. You have options. It's like either you're going to go to college, you're going to get a job, you're going to start your own business. You have options. You don't just have to go punch in the clock every day for 7 days, 12 hours a day. You don't have to do that. You can start your own business. I I like to tell people, like, even many of you that I've spoke to here, I like to tell you, like, you can literally do anything that you want to. Literally. It's like people's like, oh, I want to start a YouTube, but I can't start a YouTube right now because I need lights, I need this. Like, when I tell people, I literally do everything that I do. This graphic you see right here, I made that on my phone. I literally use my phone for everything. Now, granted, I do have an iPhone 13 Pro Max, but I just got that. Before, I was at a iPhone 8, but I use my phone for everything. As I'm meditating, as I'm working out, as I'm like feeding myself positive affirmations, looking at myself in the mirror, telling myself how beautiful I am empowering myself. Like, I really feel like there is nothing that I cannot do. I have a thought in my mind, and it's just like, okay, now what do I need to do to bring that to fruition? Before, it was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that because then people are going to find out about my past. And then I said, if I start talking about my past, nobody can hold my past over me because I told them. That's just my philosophy. Like, there's nothing, you can't hold anything over me that I told you. You would only know that because I told you. So I made the decision to talk about the things of my past and the things that happened to me because, again, I want people to know you are not the only one going through it. You know, you might feel like it. It might look like it because people be walking around here. People be wearing masks. Wait, do people still wear masks? I still wear my mask. But people be walking around here wearing the mask and they be smiling and they be laughing and cutting jokes and all of that stuff, but they be hurting on the inside. I want you to make the choice today to stop hurting, to stop carrying around that baggage and let it go. And I don't mean like, girl, just let that go, get over it. I mean, sit with it. I mean, talk yourself through it, acknowledge the feelings, feel them. It might feel like you are near death, but I want to tell you this, on the opposite side of that, on the other side of that is peace. On the other side of that choice to think about yourself, to think about freedom, to think about loving yourself. I share with someone, I said, when we think about our lives, right? You think about the generations before. You think about, just think about your parents, right? How many times did your parents tell you um, they love you? Or how many times did your parents tell you how beautiful you are? Did they hug you, or did they show up for your events, or encourage you to go out for sports or anything? Like, think about that right now. You have that in your head, right? Now, if you are a parent, how many times have you hugged your child? How many times have you told them how beautiful they are, how handsome they are, how much you love them, how grateful you are for them being alive, right? Sometimes I think all it takes is for us to know that there is options, that we have choices, that we have the ability to think outside of what we are taught, what we were told that we can only think. We can only think, I can only make a YouTube to for doing mukbangs or challenges or pranks. No, you can make a YouTube podcast talking about whatever it is that you want to talk about, long as it is not harmful or racist, or you know what I'm saying. You could do that, and you could really be successful at doing it. That depends on your level of success. Me, I just want one person to hear me. And right now there's 4 people here. So I'm successful already. But when you think about choices, right? A lot of times our families are breeding grounds. Do I want to say breeding grounds? I don't know. I'm figuring it out. Our families are where we learn how to operate in life. Our parents are the first connection we have with love. Our parents are the first connection we have with respect. Because then, you know, if you're the oldest, then you have younger siblings. And so, depending on how your parents interact with each other or how they interact with you, is how you will be with your younger siblings. You ever have an older brother or older sister that was always violent towards you? They're always want to beat you up and make you a man, or they want to chastise you or discipline you all the time? Why do you think that was? A lot of times I feel like we are so accustomed to doing things because people have done them like our entire lives. Oh, we always just, grandma always, we always just did that at grandma's house. We always just drop the kids off and then we just go. Anybody ever think about if grandma really wanted to watch those kids? Or you ever think about, um, since the pandemic, have you thought about starting a business? Have you thought like, I really could be successful at this? And then did you share that? Have you ever shared an idea with someone, right? And you be excited and you telling them, and you ecstatic because you like, yeah, this is gonna work. This is gonna be excited. And then they be like, why do you want to do that? Who gonna pay you to? Or they hit you with like, why you think you could do that? I don't think you could do that. And I'm not saying everybody have people around them like this, but I'm saying like, you ever got hit with that? And then you ever got hit with somebody that hit you with those questions and then turned around and did the exact same thing that you told them that you was going to do? And then you decided that you wasn't going to do it because now they doing it. I remember one day I was pitching for a venture capitalist. And the venture capitalist said to me, he said, do you think that Pepsi was going to stop selling sodas because Coke sold sodas? Do you think Wonder Bread was going to stop selling bread because? Do you think Starbucks is going to stop selling coffee because Dunkin' Donuts sell coffee? And I'm sitting here thinking like, no, that makes so much sense. I thought about the things that I do, right? And so as I journey, as I speak to more people, as I understand, because I think all of this comes to understanding that you do not have to. And I'm not telling you to be a rebellious person. I'm not. I know when we don't think according to how everyone else thinks, they call us rebels. What I'm telling you is to explore other options. I like that. Explore other options. Maybe you want to do a YouTube and you want to talk to people about, you want to do Sunday schools. Maybe you want to do Sunday schools on Sunday. Not everybody can get to church. That's a great idea. Later on tonight, I'm going to do gospel karaoke because I'm like, how come nobody is doing gospel karaoke? So I'm going to try gospel karaoke. So later on tonight, if you want to, if you're free, come. Um, we going to do some gospel karaoke. Bring your favorite gospel song. They do have gospel karaoke, and come sing on my channel tonight, later on. I said in 2020, I did um, so many things that I said I wanted to do. I did them, right? 2021, I did so many things I said I wanted to do. I did them. I get to 2023, right? And I said, I can look back and see how fear stopped me from doing a lot of the things that I really wanted to do. I did a lot of things that I wanted to do, but the things that I really wanted to do, fear stopped me. So 2023 came in. I said, I don't care how afraid I am, how nervous I get. I don't care about any of it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to operate in fear. People was like, you shouldn't do that. That means that. And I was like, listen, I operated in fear. And when I tell you, hold on. When I tell you the very thing that you desire is on the opposite side of fear. In 2019, I did a music concert, right? I did a bi-monthly concert series. Me, the person that I was with at that time, and some other people pulled together. We, got it, made it what it was. It was very successful. There was collaboration albums. It was all kinds of things, right? It was successful. I woke up in 2023. I said, I'm bringing it back. And I said, this time I'm going to reach out to everybody here, everybody in the state that I live, and I'm going to ask them to sponsor me. I'm going to ask them to participate with my concert series. Now, this is huge for me because if you know me, you know I like to do things. I like to make sure I handle everything. Not just because I don't feel like other people can do it, because that's really what it was. I didn't feel like other people could do it. But it's relinquishing that for me. It's relinquishing the need to be the handler. It's relinquishing that. So I woke up, I put together a sponsorship proposal, and I was like, let me send it out. I kid y'all not. I sat right here and I looked at the email and I stared at that email for 3 hours. I stared at that email. And I kept telling myself, yeah, we gonna press in. We gonna press in. And I kept reading it over. I knew that it was good. I knew that the sponsorship proposal was good. But for 3 hours, I was filled with fear. Like, what if you don't know, like I had this thing with rejection. I was like, what if they don't accept it? What if they feel like, who the fuck is she and why should we give to her? Like, I was going through all these things in my head and they was loud too. And I just said, you know what? Forget it. I have an accountability partner and I said, hey, I need to send you this just so I can get past this initial fear. I sent it to her. I just sent it to my mentor. I sent it to another person. And then from there, it was just like I was sending it to everybody, operating in fear. And once I got through with sending it for that day, I sat back and I was like, you ever did it? No, what was I afraid of? What was I afraid of? All I had to do was press send. I know everything that I typed up was good. What am I afraid of? You want to start a YouTube. You know the content that you are going to talk about is good. You know that you are knowledgeable in the things that you want to do. What are you afraid of? People won't like you. People won't like you anyways. People don't like me, but that's not going to stop me from talking to y'all about nurturing things. That's me getting past me. When I tell y'all, it was like loud. It was loud. Like, you shouldn't do that. What if they go on your YouTube and realize I was just sitting there like, hmm, turn my meditation music on. It went silent. And I was like, you know what? And I pressed send. And ever since I pressed send, I have gotten sponsors from. I got sponsorships from people where it was just like, I don't even know how the hell that just happened, but I'm rocking with it. I don't know how I was just able to do that, but I'm rocking with it. I do know how I was able to do it because I believed in myself. I believed in myself and I knew that if I had the opportunity, I would excel. And I'm doing that. I am excelling because I am pushing past fear. I'm not allowing, okay, nobody else that I know nobody did this, nobody. I'm not allowing that. I'm not allowing excuses. I'm not allowing anything. When I have to send off something like this week, I have to send out follow ups for the other people to see if they're going to sponsor because my first concert is April 27th. And no, I'm not waiting to the last minute. I've been sending these sponsorships out in January. Just following up, just give a little, hey, how you doing? I know you got it. I saw that you read it. Any thoughts? And if they don't do it, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep on pushing because my first concert is April 27th, 2023. I started sharing my vision with people, right? And usually people would be like, why would you want to do that? Whatever. But what I did was I changed everybody around me. All those people that had that, I can't be around you. When I went into surgery, right? Before I went into surgery, I'm gonna tell y'all more about this on Friday because it's the anniversary of it. But before I went into surgery, I wanted all the people that I knew were solid, that wasn't shaky, that didn't rattle easy. I wanted those people around me. Because I don't know if you noticed, but when you get ready to go into surgery, your mind started doing things. It started doing things. It started doing things. But I was surrounded by so many strong people. I was surrounded by love where I didn't even have the opportunity. I didn't even have the opportunity. Nope, not at all. Every one of them kept me lifted so high. And that's why I was like, you know what? I want to do this concert series. So I started telling the people that I knew that can move things for me. Listen, I made that choice. I made the choice to not sit with my mouth closed, and I made the choice to start talking about the things that happened to me. Even when I spoke on, um, even when I spoke on having my innocence taken, right? It was not my intention to say out loud what happened to me because you go through things in your head all the time. You go through it, but I didn't realize I didn't realize how freeing it was to say it out loud. I felt like a whole, like, elephant, whatever. It just felt like a weight had lifted. Like, as the words were coming out of my mouth, it felt like weights were being lifted. And in that moment, I was like, I don't even care what happens because this feeling, this feeling that I have, I've never felt that feeling of freedom, like free. It's like free. It's like free. That's all I got. It's free. It's free. It wasn't it wasn't anything other than freeing. When I began to talk about how I felt about the rejection I experienced from my parents, and then even sharing that I actually went and sat down and talked to my parents and understanding where they were when I was born and how their life choices affected me or did not affect me, but allowed me to be where I am right now. The relationship with my father before he passed was amazing because I made the choice not to hold his past against him. No, he wasn't there for all the times where I felt he should have been there, where he could have protected me. And then once I got older and I understood life and how things happen, that's not to give them an excuse, but that's just to say, once you understand a person's life, understand the things that they've been through, you begin to understand why people make the decisions that they make. When I think about generational choices, right? People always say, y'all know, racist stuff be going on all the time, right? People always say we are not our. They got memes out here to say we are not our grandmothers, we are not our grandparents, we are not our mothers. I totally understand that we live in a different time, and what happened. That's not to not knock or discount anything that our ancestors did, but that's to say we are living in a different time right now, a different time. I remember when you could, hey, how you doing? Can I get your number? You'd be like, no, I'm good. I'm with somebody, right? You could just do that and you could walk home or you could go wherever you're going and you made it safely. Now, you can't do that. You got to give people a number and they going to call a number in your face and you better hope it ring back to you. And then you just got to go change your number. You got to change. You got to be careful where you go because people dropping air tags and ear pods in people's purses and following them around. It's like, so we got to be careful for everything, right? I be telling people, right? You ever see, I don't know where you live or how it is where you live, but when I where I live, like there you drive on an island and there's people that hold signs, right? And it's like we'll work for food or do you have a couple of dollars to give me? Or they stand outside the gas station or stand outside the restaurant, right? Now it's people that like we feel like sometimes people are in those situations because of mental illness or drug abuse or just life happens, right? But I don't feel like it's our job. Again, this is my opinion. I don't feel like it's our job to make those people feel less than because they don't have. Because if we really start paying attention to life and what's going on in this world, we are all one paycheck, one bank account, one bank shutting down away from being out there. We all are. We could try to act no. We all are. Do y'all remember a couple of months ago when the situation happened with Chase and people was like, wait a minute, where my money go? Then all of a sudden all these big banks closing down. Are y'all paying attention to what's going on? We got to make choices. I made the choice to say every time I do a live to tell everybody to get non-perishable food items, water, disinfected toiletries, get you some hand sanitizers, lights, batteries, all those things, cranked radios. If y'all haven't been paying attention, right? I have not even heard um a news story or anything about what's going on in Ohio. You want to know how I know about what's going on in Ohio? TikTok. Actually, I went and watched the documentary on Netflix, and then I couldn't believe when I saw it pop up on TikTok, and I was like, "Wait, I just watched a documentary, and all this is happening in real life. Am I being pranked? Because I'm sitting here like I know that I know I'm not crazy, but that just happened in a movie. It was like a movie. It wasn't a documentary. It was like a movie, and then it happened. It's happening in real life. Like these people in Ohio are real life dealing with things. And if you don't know, I mean, we just wouldn't know. But when I say make sure you get your toiletries, non-perishable food items, even if you think about back to 3 years ago, right? People were selling bottles of water for like $10, $20. Tissue was like, so before I used to make fun of them people that coupon and got all those big racks. After the pandemic and I saw how things were moving, I saw how things was going. When I tell you get some cash money or get you some coins or some cash money and put that to the side. Y'all remember it was a coins shortage? I be thinking about things. I'm not a well, that's neither here nor there, but that's a choice. That's a choice you make. If you have a family, you should definitely, if you got a deep freezer, you should definitely be trying to freeze you some food, can you some food. You should definitely be trying to do something because whether people believe it or not, if you go back and look, history repeats itself. You might not want to believe it. You might just like, oh, that's history repeats itself. How do you think we had the Spanish flu, then we had COVID? We had the Great Depression, then we had the recession. They say it's about time for something like that to happen. I just want to make sure that you make those choices. When you think about families, right? Um, when we think about families and the things I said, I'm grateful for oral traditions. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be able to talk to my great aunts and my great great aunts and like the people that came before me. I'm grateful for those people to be able to still be alive and sit down and listen to their stories. I'm grateful, right? At the same time, I know I would not have made a lot of the choices that they have made. Like my grandmother, if I would have been presented with the opportunity, I probably would have. See y'all, I'm gone. I probably would have. But in all actuality, I haven't because I've had those opportunities multiple times. But I think about my family first. I thought about when my mom got sick, I thought about, um, part of me was like, I remember when I was younger and I would say to my mom, like, you put your sons on the pedestal. And that's not saying that my brothers don't do what they do, because they do. But I said, you put your sons on the pedestal, but they put their job before everything. And I get it, they got families, but at the same time, she went to the edges of heaven and beyond. Not really, but y'all know she went to the extremes for them. And for me, it was just like we didn't really have a good relationship then. We didn't. We resolved that because I was being an adult and I was just like, hey, this is my feelings. This is what I thought. This is what I think. And then she shared with me her story, and I was like, oh my God, I I am sorry. How can you expect a person who was never taught love or never taught passion or never taught? How could I expect you to teach me that? You didn't know. Like I hear people all the time, like how, why our parents never taught us about, taught us financial literacy or credit or anything like that. They didn't know. How was they gonna teach us? They didn't know. They knew to put stuff in our names because that's what the people above them did. Like I feel like once you come into the knowledge of something, if you really are like you really want to help people, you will share that information. I be sharing stuff here all the time. Cause I be wanting people to know. I didn't know if y'all knew about Ohio, but I wanted to make sure. I'm gonna keep saying Ohio, so you go and Google what's happening in Ohio. Birds just dropping out of the seal, out of the sky. China, they got what? It's raining worms. Like I don't know. It's a choice. This is a choice. You choose to go Google that, or you choose to just sit here and be like, dang, this is a real life. Yeah, it's real life. It's real happening. Real things happening. I chose not to be blind. I chose not to allow the things that I went through to cause me to make excuses for myself in life. I can't be successful or I can't run a Fortune 500 company because my innocence was stolen or because I got broke. I had a real bad breakup or I nobody ever encouraged me to do better. I said to myself, as a grown ass woman, if I don't get up off my ass and get to doing what I know I need to do, I'm gonna just wait for somebody to like, oh, you did a good job. No. Oh, I'm just wait for somebody that's like, oh, I really enjoyed your podcast. No, I'm gonna keep talking. Cause whether you or anybody else is I wanna that teenager. You ever see someone um say rest it would say rest in peace and that person unalive themselves? You ever people always like, oh, I wonder what happened to them. They seem so happy. They seem like everything was together or what's going on. But again, people be real life struggling. I'm one of those people who's like, if I'm struggling, if I got something going on, I'm gonna tell you. I might not come here to YouTube. I have talked about like mild things, but like in real life, like when I have real life things, I'm gonna find somebody that I could talk to and I'm gonna talk it out. Cause we hold everything in. We hold things from our childhood. We hold things from teenage years, adult years. We've so filled with so much stuff, and then wonder why we have all of these ailments. Our bodies be like, hey, um, we got stuff in here from 20 years ago when you was like a teenager, and you still trying to stuff stuff in here. We over capacity. We gonna have to explode one day. We gonna explode, and then you think like, oh, I'm just gonna blow up on somebody. No, it could explode where your body just like shut down, and it's just like it go in on itself. Like, hey, we can't take no more. You gotta let it out. It's why I be encouraging people to make the decision to go to therapy, right? I know a lot of times we don't want to go to therapy because we don't want people to put stuff in our head, or we don't want people to tell us about our lives, or we don't even want people to challenge us. I said to someone the other day, I said, I got to the point in my life where I was tired of carrying around other people's shit. I was tired of carrying around my shit. I made the choice, by any means necessary, I am going to be free. I am going to let it all go. And when I said that, I didn't know. I had in my mind, I thought it was gonna be rainbows and sunshines. I ain't even gonna hold you. I thought it was just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna talk about this, I'm gonna deal with that, I'm gonna acknowledge this, I'm gonna accept. I thought it was gonna be that, and I was gonna be good. I didn't know that I was going to have to, like, it was going to really, really, really cause me to do some internal soul searching, acknowledging, and accepting shit for myself. When I said I want to let this go, when I spoke it out of my mouth like this is what happened, I knew the consequences. I knew because the person who stole my innocence was a pastor of a church. I knew that his members, I knew that. I was prepared. At this point, I carried that around for so long. Anybody that has anything to say about it, I was with it. I'm with it. I'm ready to go, whatever. I don't fight, but I will tell you how I feel and what I think about it. I was ready to go with that. I wasn't prepared for the number of people that came and was encouraging or talking about how inspired they were to, acknowledge the things that happened to them. And like, I was overwhelmed by, I was looking for this, but all of this came, and I was just like, oh my God, like, I was not prepared for that. When I thought about, sharing, like, even having a breakup, when I thought about sharing how I'm not hopping into another relationship, because that's what we have become. So that's like our hat, like that's what we do. We get out of one relationship, hop into the next relationship. That's why people always talk about carrying around baggage. If we sit down, this is the thing. I'm gonna tell y'all a phrase that I really hate to hear. It might be true, but I'm gonna tell you I hate it. And I'm saying hate because it's such a strong word, but I really hate to hear hurt people hurt people. Because in my mind, I think if you are hurt, why don't you just go sit down over there, or go to therapy, or go figure out what hurts you and why it hurts you, and figure out all of the who, what, where, why, when's, and hows, and then you won't be hurt anymore. So you won't be out here hurting people. Like, people be saying that all the time, like, but hurt people hurt people. I was hurt, so what? When do we make the decision to say, you know what? I said this, right. When I had my innocence stolen, right, I said, what I will not sit by and watch another young person, another adult, another somebody else go inside themselves because somebody has taken something away from them. I'm not gonna have it. Not gonna do it. Somebody come and say, I'm not putting other people's business out on the wings of the morning, but I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know. Listen, that's not gonna fly with me. I don't be out here kicking it with people if I know that in any time it's a no for me. Because whether you understand it or not, that damages people. Anybody that has had any experience like that, it's a lot of people walking around here. It's like, oh, look at me. Ain't nothing happened to me, but they happen in 50, 60 relationships. They doing all of these excessive things, right? We don't talk about, like, nobody was like, okay, you're going to get molested or you're going to have your innocence taken, and then this is what's going to happen after that. Nobody says that. Nobody is like, okay, here's how you handle what's going to happen. Here's how you handle smells. Here's how you handle that. No one talks to you about that. Nobody's going to talk to you about that. I feel like people should. I mean, you'll go to therapy and they be like, hey, well, you need to, but nobody, like, real life is going to talk to you about that. Yo auntie who was taken advantage of by the same person who took advantage of you ain't gonna say nothing, because she gonna be like, girl, that happened to me too, but look at me. I got this successful business, I got that, but her kids don't even speak to her. It's so many different, like, things that happen, right? So for me, I'm gonna say it like this: if you are a parent If you could think about your life as a child and how your relationship with your mother or your father or your grandparents or whoever raised you, your parent, your guardian, right? If you think about your relationship with them, that should help you as you are preparing to have a relationship with your child, especially in 2023. There's human trafficking, there's sex trafficking, there's people just taking people just because they want to take people. We live in a world where we don't know. I'm just gonna say we don't know. Remember, you could go to school and then you could come back home and then everything was fine. It was you were just good. Remember, you could go to church and you don't have to worry about. Remember, you could go to the grocery store. Remember, you could go to Walmart and you wouldn't have to worry about. We be so argumentative. We be so going back and forth with other people, forgetting that just 3 years ago we couldn't wait. We couldn't. Oh my God, I can't wait till I can go and touch and hug. We couldn't wait. Now 3 years later, it's like, oh well, they gonna fend for themselves and all of this stuff. For me, I'm still in that same mindset as I was 3 years ago. When I see somebody, you ever have a moment where you going washing dishes, you doing something in your life, and then somebody drops on you, like literally drop. You have the thought in your mind. It's like, oh, I should call him, or oh, I should text him, or oh, let me go ride by that house, or whatever it is, right? You ever have that moment? I'm gonna tell you from this moment forth, if you have that moment again, call them, FaceTime them, pick up the phone, go by their house, do whatever it is, because you never know what that person needs at that very moment they drop in your mind. Circle back to what I was saying earlier. People, we be knowing, we be knowing that people aren't good. When I say aren't good, we know that people are depressed. We be knowing that people don't have food. We be knowing all of those things, right? And sometimes a lot of us would be like, well, God is going to help, or God is going to do. And I feel like, this is no knock to God, but I feel like that you as a human being, if you know that a person is struggling with something, I feel like help them. Now, I'm not saying go above and beyond and help them, but if they're dropping your spirit or your heart or your mind, help them. You ever had somebody dropping your spirit or your heart or your mind, and then that person is no longer here, and you be like, damn, I should have called them. I should have texted them. I should have went by their house. I shoulda. This is what I'm saying. In 2023, anytime anyone drops in your heart, your mind, your spirit, your body, if whatever, you just happen to be scrolling on whatever platform you on and be like, man, I should see how they doing. Pick up the phone, call them, check on them. That could save a life. If you feel like, oh, that person's so happy, look at them, they so chipper, they so cool, check on them. Talk to them. Have conversations with people. If you know that you don't have food at your house, don't be sitting at home starving. Don't be sitting at home. Go to the local soup shelter, soup kitchen, whatever. Who cares who talks about you? You're going to have some food in your stomach. Put your pride to the side and eat. I remember when I was homeless, right? Yes, I was homeless. When I tell you, like, the choices in my life definitely caused me to look at life. I remember when I was homeless and I didn't have a place to go, and in my mind, I couldn't phantom like making that a career for me, like not having a stable place. I couldn't phantom that. I never wanted to phantom that. Even now to this day, it's people like, hey, you want to go to Dubai? You want to do all of this? And I'm just looking like, if I got to make sure that my rent, my weed energies, and my spectrum is paid. That's lights, that's, and internet, because I need internet to talk to y'all. But I got to make sure that those things are paid, because I don't want to be outside again. I don't want to do that. So when I was homeless, I was sitting here and I was thinking to myself, and I was like, you deserve better than this. You deserve better. And I wasn't just talking about a house. I was talking about, to me, I deserve better than this. When you hear people like down talk you, or you hear like negative things all the time, you start to like, that starts to become a part of you. That's why when they're like, you calling your kids names all the time and you speaking to them in negative, when they grow up, they start believing that. I totally understood that. I kept telling myself every day, you deserve better. You deserve better. When I found this house, it was like, okay. Every day I kept saying, you deserve better. You deserve better. You ever have this heavy feeling or you have to make a decision and the decision you have to make, it doesn't, you know it's gonna hurt. You know the decision is gonna hurt. You gotta be like, hey, I gotta part ways with you. You know, especially if you've been kicking it with them for a long time, but you have to make that decision. Maybe I'm talking to you, and maybe you right now, the universe, God, Buddha, Allah, whoever you serve, or even you just feel like I need to let this person go. I'm gonna tell you this: let them go. I know. Take it from somebody who had the hardest time in the last 2 years letting go of people that I love so dearly. I've known them, we've grown through, we went through all kinds of things, but I had to let them go. I had to. Toughest decision that I had to make, but I had to let them go. And then as I let them go, I began to understand why. You ever be around somebody and you like before you be around them, you all happy, you all hey, and then you go around them and then you realize like your spirit, everything about you changes. That's an environment you don't need to be in. You don't need to be in that environment. You need to make the decision. Here's I'm 2023. I want you to make the decision to choose you. If you are a parent, I want you to make the decision to choose you so that you make great decisions so that when your kids look at you and the decisions they made, that you made, they don't be like, I don't want to be like my mother. I don't want to be like my father. I don't want to have those. I don't want to do that. You know, like parents be joking. This is not funny. Parents be joking all the time where they be like, I know which child is going to put me in a nursing home. The fact that parents even be joking about that, like real life, that's like real life. Think about parents that got sick during COVID. Real life people was putting their parents in a nursing home. People were doing all kinds of things. Like think about that. If at the end of your life your child has to take care of you, how have you been to that child? Have you been good? Have you loved them? Have you supported them? Have you encouraged them? I be thinking about um even how we are interacting or how our tolerance or how we interact with other people who are not like us. Like I grew up in church, but I've never like talked about another religion because they didn't believe what I believe, even though a lot of times people do who are religious do um have those feelings. Like my religion is the best religion. At the end of the day, if you aren't loving people like you love yourself, I think that is the greatest thing ever. If I can't show you the same love that I want you to show back to me, I don't think all of those other things I'm gonna comprehend anyways. Because if I can't comprehend not lying to you, I'm definitely not gonna get all those other 15 million things I'm supposed to do. But if I can comprehend you are just like me, you are a human being that is in this race called life or on this journey called life. And you just want to be loved. You want to be able to take care of your family. You want to just be able to enjoy life and be free. It's something when you could like be free, when you don't have anything, you don't have any regrets, you don't have anything. Like you just like, I'm so open where I'm just gonna do everything I wanted to do. Now the one thing, actually, let me. So when I was younger, I wanted to be a WNBA player, right? I wanted to play for the Houston Comets with Cheryl Swoop, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, and Kim Perot. I was gonna be a point guard, shooting guard, point guard. I didn't even care. I just wanted to be on the floor with them, right? I got sick. That didn't happen. And so I was saying, well, there goes my dreams of being in the WNBA because, I'm like 40 something. I'm 42 right now, right? I'll be 43 this year, right? And so then I saw that my hometown is going to have a women's developmental league. It's sort of like the G League for the WNBA or whatever. And I said to myself, I'm going to try out. People around me was laughing like, girl, What you gonna do out there? I said, I'm going to try out. How crazy would it be if I make the team? I just want to go and try out because that do y'all see how excited I'm getting about just trying out? I just want to go try out. If I make the team, that's that's gonna be lit. But I just want to go and try out because that's what I wanted to do. It's like once the dreams or the hopes of dreams feel like a little water, the spark is there, but when the little water get on it, start coming a little flicker, and it's like, that couldn't happen. But now it's like, no, I'm doing everything I ever wanted to do. Nothing is gonna stop. Nothing, not a thing is going to stop me. Once Anne said, it starts with believing in yourself, right? I I believe in myself on a level where when I was younger, before, if you can go back to your life before, like your life really, you became an adult or you really had to like take care of yourself. If you can go back and you think about the innocence, you think about all the hopes, dreams, and aspirations that you had. And then when you get to that place in your life where you are just free and it's just like, I'm going after everything. I'm going after everything I ever wanted to do. People be like, oh, like you too old to be trying to do that. I don't give a fuck. I'm doing everything I ever wanted to do. And I've been doing that since January. And when I tell y'all, it is the greatest feeling ever. When I say everything you want in life is on the other side of fear. You want to start a YouTube, but you feel like I don't got the lights, I don't got the camera, I don't got nothing. All you need is a phone. Android, it could be a Google phone, it don't matter. All you have to do is start there. You start there, maybe somebody see what you're doing. It's like, hey, I want to invest in you. I want to give you a phone, or I want to give you some lights, or we never know what's going to happen until we actually put it out there. I kid y'all not. Like, I wanted to start a podcast, right? I started this podcast by calling it Sunday Night Dinner and Convo. And every Sunday at 7, I would come and I would eat. But I knew the entire time that I wanted it to be a podcast. I wanted it to be a podcast, right? I said to myself, I am going to turn this a podcast. I have to do whatever I need to do to get it to that point where I am comfortable enough. Before I put my podcast name on it, I have to be comfortable enough talking in front of a camera, talking to people, because I don't want to talk to people. Like, my life, I just want to be in the shadows. Like, I just want to be back there. But I knew that my life, the direction of my life, that I was going to be speaking on stages, that I was going to be able to talk to people and going to be able to change people's life. I knew that from a young child. And then when things happened to me in my life, it was just like, I'm not going to speak. I don't want to speak. I don't want to talk to people. That means I have to care. That means that I am open. That means that I am vulnerable. That means that I don't want to do that. And so for so long, I spent a large majority of my life just on an island by myself, not sharing, not caring, not doing anything, entertaining people. Yeah, cool. But in the whole time, I wanted to let it go. The moment I realized for me that talking helps. Maybe talking isn't your thing. Maybe drawing is your thing. Maybe doing hair is your thing. Maybe working out is your thing. Maybe cooking is your thing. I remember when I first started working out on YouTube, right? I sat and I watched workout videos from all type of people, tall, short, muscular, but I didn't see anybody that looked like me, plus size, thick, curvy. I didn't see anybody that looked like me. And I was like, wait a minute, I know other people that look like me be working out, so let me start working out, right? I made the choice to start working out. And then my inbox or my emails was getting flooded, like with, it was people that were happy that I was working out, and it was also people like, you sit your fat ass down, or fat ass, and all of those different things, right? And what I realized about me, what I realized about myself is, right, I tell people this all the time, right? I feel like the place that I grew up in prepared me for my life. So there's nothing you can say about me that's gonna make me be like, oh man, I just can't. And that's not to say that people, I'm just saying me. I got to a place where I'm so in love with myself. I love everything about me. I believe in me more than you probably believe in me. Like, I'm so good on me. I feel like if we teach more people to be good on them, I was watching the thing, right? I was watching the thing, and they were saying how women wear makeup and wigs and do all of that stuff for other women. And then the lady was like, "Well, men get dressed for other men," and I was just like, "People real life be doing that. People real life be getting themselves together for other people. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, I've known people that go and spend every dime they got on clothes just so people can be like, oh, you look good, you smell good." And then when they go home, turn the lights off, take off all that stuff, they feel. I don't want to be like that. I don't want you to be like that. It's 2023. We survived a global fucking pandemic. I want you to let that shit go. If you have to go to therapy, go to therapy. I'm going to say this, give it 2 rounds. Most people go to therapy and it's like, oh, they didn't help me, or oh, I don't feel any better. Listen, therapy is not that. They're not there to be your friend. They're not there to be somebody that you could like. Oh yeah, they agree with everything I say. They're not gonna agree with you. They're not gonna be your yes man. They're not gonna be any of that. If you really want to change your life, I feel like a lot of people are stuck in this place, right? Doing the same exact thing every day, hoping that something changes differently. A lot of people are there. You know what the dictionary calls you? Insane. I didn't call you insane. I just repeated what the dictionary said. I said, in order to change my life, I have to do whatever it takes. And what did it take for me? It took for me going the opposite of everything I ever thought in my entire life and doing the exact opposite of that. I went to therapy when I grew up, or when I was growing up. They was like, in the religion that I grew up in, they was like, you don't go to therapy. They gonna put stuff. The devil gonna catch your mind, and he gonna do all that, entangle you. And then I went to therapy, and I was like, oh my god, this is nothing like what they said. And I was sitting there. I was like, wait a minute. All she doing is asking me questions about me and telling me to go into my safe space. Now that might not be your situation when they go to therapy. Maybe you go to therapy and you crying, or you punching bags, or you going to the break it room and you breaking stuff. Maybe that's your thing. But for me, I realized that it was talking. I went to therapy. I went to regular therapy. I went to the therapy you sit on the couch. I went to the EDMR therapy where the little lights go right there. And EDMR therapy helped me the most out of all of those therapies. When I started to um when I started to actually go back, because sometimes, we experience things in our lives and it's just like, I'm not going back there. I already came there, I overcame that, I'm already here. When I went to actually go back to my childhood, right? I remember a time where I was right after my breakup, right? And I was in the shower and I just was overwhelmed with tears and I was bawling. Like, you ever have a cry where you just like that kind of cry? And then I just said to myself, I'm sorry. And as I said, I'm sorry, I started wailing even more. And I was like, you are safe. You are loved. I'm speaking all these positive things to myself. And I'm in the shower, but I'm on the floor looking at myself, talking to myself. And I realized that I wasn't talking to me. Well, I was talking to me, but I was actually talking to that 8-year-old girl who grew up fighting any and everybody because she wanted to protect herself. Because she didn't want to feel rejection. She didn't want people to look at her and not be happy. I was talking to her. And the more I talked to her, the more that I reassured her, the more that I let her know, like, hey, you made it. You know, they have a thing where it's like if you could tell your old self, or if you can go back and change anything, I've never was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna change this because I don't know how that outcome would be. But I just was like, I don't want to go back. Well, in that shower, I realized why I didn't want to go back because it hurted. It hurts to know that you have to protect yourself from grown people. It hurts to know all of the different things that I would do to try to be safe. It hurts to know that. But at the same time, as a 42-year-old woman, it makes me happy to know that I'm still here where I can talk to you about it. Maybe you are somebody who has, for the past couple of years or months or weeks or days or even the last couple of minutes or hours since we've been here, you've been saying, I should really explore this. Maybe you had a diary and you would write down all the things that experienced, all the experiences you had in your life in your diary, and somebody read it and you was like, I'm never writing anything else down again. Maybe you was somebody who told an adult what was going on with you, and that adult didn't do shit. And you were like, I'm never telling somebody again. I want to tell you this, right? Keep writing. Go get you a book. Go get you a journal and write. Maybe writing is the way that you're supposed to get out of it. Write. Talk about it. Before people, I always be like, oh, be careful who you tell. Just talk about it. Because if people hear about it, they're going to talk about it anyways. Like, think about it, right? We be hearing about celebrities all the time, and what do? We talk about it. We hear about Sister Jean at the church, or we hear about whatever we hear. We be on social media. You, girl, did you see that? All the time. We going to talk about it. At the end of the day, free yourself. Make the decision to free yourself. I was talking earlier about generational curses, and I say this, and I have said it, and I will continue to say this. Generational curses only exist because no one had the strength to stand up against them. If you right now feel like you are currently experiencing a generational curse in your family, think about all the people that come behind you, that's coming behind you. Think about your kids. Think about the people that's this way, right? On the sides of you, right? Do it for them. Do it for yourself and do it for them. Make the choice. Make the choice so they don't have to be like, man, I had to experience this because. Make that choice. Do it for your auntie who was like, oh, that happened to me, but look at me. Do it for them. Because whether we believe it or not, like the people above us, they didn't have the liberties that we have. Like, think about it, right? The kids nowadays, we wouldn't think about doing half of the shit that the kids nowadays do. But it's a different time. It's a different dispensations. They have access to a lot of things. Like, they have access. Everybody has a phone, a tablet, a watch. Everybody. Little kids. My nieces and nephews got phones, and they're young. We live in a different time. We live in a different space. We've never had the opportunity where everything is readily available. Everything, anything you can type in. You ever accidentally type in something and then something pop up on your computer? It happened to me. I accidentally the other day I was trying to call for my student loans, right? And I switched the numbers around, and they was like, hi, you have reached it was a sex line. I said, oh, no, hold on. No. And I went back and looked at it. I was like, I know I dialed this number. I went back and looked at the numbers. I had the last two numbers flipped. Anybody can do that. These kids be on social media. You go on YouTube, you go on Facebook, Snapchat. They got age limits, but think about it, how many kids is on these different platforms. And think about if you're an adult and you seeing all this stuff scrolling, think about what they seeing. Think about when they going to schools now, right? We gotta, if you're not being proactive at home, if you're not I say telling your child how much they mean to you, how important they are, telling them how beautiful or how handsome they are, hugging them, being intimate, not in that form, but being intimate, hugging them, giving them a kiss, telling them, patting them on the back, telling them how good they did. And you're probably like, well, nobody ever did that to me. Be the change that you want to see. Make the choice. If your parents didn't do none of that, understand. I say I do this because I want anybody that has been through anything that I've been through. I want you to know that you are not alone. We all were kids at one time. We all wanted somebody to come to our basketball games, debate team, chess club, whatever it is. We all wanted somebody to be there. Hell, now as adults, we want people to be there. I be I be wishing like I be going through all these different accelerators right now. I have people around me like, yeah, I want to start a business, but I don't got no money. I'd be like, fuck money. Do y'all know it be people up in these different pitches and all they do is have an idea and they could sell people on the idea and people be giving them when I tell y'all the money that these people be giving these people for an idea. And it's people over here like, oh, I don't got the money to do. If you have an idea, if you can put your idea together and sell it to somebody, and I don't mean like, okay, you're going to give me this amount of money and I'm going to give it to you. No, you have an idea and you know, I want to do this. You want to start a trucking business. I want to have a trucking. Here's how I'm going to do my dispatching. Here's where you have it all. You can lay it all out and people actually see it as you talk. Oh, they'll give you the money. You don't even need to. They'll give you the money. You have to have a plan though. Then if they say they're gonna give you $20,000, you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a truck. No, you gotta have a detailed plan on what you're gonna do with it. I said to somebody, I was like, when those PPPs was out here, everybody was creating business. They had all kind of big. You get a business, business. Everybody had that money. But think about how different life would have been if people actually would have real life did that. Real life had those businesses. Real life 3 years ago probably be doing real good right now. I any information I get I try to share it with everybody just so you know. I was taking the stuff that I was learning at these accelerators, these different things, and I was bringing it back to like, hey, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you got an EIN? You got an LLC? I'm all of that information. Why? Because I want my community, I want the people that I'm talking to, I want you to be good. If I could Thanos snap and everybody be good, somebody's like, if everybody good, somebody got to be bad. Why does somebody got to be bad? If everybody rich, who gonna be poor? Why does anybody gotta be poor? If everybody healed, who gonna be broke? Why does anybody? That somebody was like, well, hurt people. And they were talking to me about a situation. I was just looking like my eye was twitching and everything. I realized that I really do hate that. And I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on that. That's a choice I'm choosing. I'm going to work on it because I didn't realize how deeply rooted that hurt, that hatred is in there. Because in my mind, it's like if you are hurt, if you get a paper cut, you ever got a paper cut on your finger, and it could be healed over and everything, but you look at that paper cut on your finger and it's gonna hurt. What you gonna do? You gonna hold it. You gonna protect the paper cut on your finger, right? Why isn't it that same thing? Okay, I'm hurt. How did I get hurt? How did I feel being hurt? Why did the feelings that I feel, why did I allow them to, like, even like, that's like even with being angry, right? I was telling somebody, like, it's a difference when you are angry and you are able to understand why you're angry and you don't like just lash out because you're angry. But when there's power in that, like, man, I am so angry. Why am I angry? Because so-and-so said this. Why did so-and-so saying that make me angry? Because I remember when I was telling somebody, I said, if you actually ask yourself those whys, you can get back to a time where somebody either promised you something, somebody told you they was going to do something for you, they was going to take you somewhere. You'll get back to that time. That's why you don't trust people. Not because, my auntie said, nope, it's something further than that. Again, I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I can tell you it's something. It's the first original. It was the original person who told you they was gonna do it, and ever since that person said it, you now look at it and be like, you can't trust people. You don't believe me? Think about it. Think back to that first time somebody said they was gonna take you somewhere. They was gonna give you something. They was gonna buy you something. They was gonna do something for you. Go back. You gonna think about it, and while you thinking about it tonight, you're gonna be like, damn. So I don't be trusting people. And then when you start thinking about why you don't trust people, and a lot of times we don't trust people because we don't trust ourselves. But that's a choice you have to make. It's a choice you have to make. If you are someone who is experiencing a generational curse, maybe your family wasn't rich, or maybe you are doing the necessary things or things you feel necessary so that you can get your family out of that situation, stop. You know what I'm talking about. Stop. Because nobody has ever got up off of that. You might be winning for a little while, but listen, stop. If you're going to do it, go get all the classes, go get everything that you need so that you could do it the right way and make even more money and pass that down through your generations. Do that. Choices, generational choices. I know it probably seemed like I took a long ride around there, but hey, I gave you a lot of things to think about, a lot of choices you can make. Do you want to be like the people that went before you, or do you want to set a standard? Do you want to just continue on with what was, or do you want to change it? I be thinking about, like, even when I be talking to people from church, I'm like, you don't like you don't talk to other people from other religions. Now, why would I do that? Because you definitely need to understand. Because if the way I look at it, right? This is the way I look at it. They all serve the same person. They just call them a different name, and they all have different rules on how they serve that same person. If you think about it, if all of the religions came together and was like, hey, we gonna just band together, they could do some really powerful things. But then you got those religions that's like here, and then you got those religions up there, and then you got those religions that's just like none of y'all even exist because we are the ultimate religion. If y'all picking up what I'm putting down, we the ultimate. So all of y'all are beneath us, but y'all helped us get. Anyways, it's choices. That's what life is all about, choices. I'm choosing to come here and talk about positive things. I'm choosing to come here and encourage you to look at your options. It's 2023. We're 3 months in. Look at your options. You're going to wait to the end of the year. You're going to go into a new birthday and be like, yeah, I'm going to do it this year. And then it don't, like I said, how many people made a vision board or a vision book or I'm going to work out this year. I'm going to do all that. And then it's like the third month in and you ain't did none of that. And it's like, well, I'm going to try again next year, or I'm going to try again in another couple of months. And I was like, this is where I realized I discipline was the thing that I lacked, right? I had tried juicing so many times before. I tried it. It's just like, it just wasn't working. I didn't like the juice. I didn't like none of it. It didn't fit me. And then I woke up and was like, now I'm going to be like love and positivity. I started making juice, putting juice recipes together. I was literally juicing drinking 2 and 3 juices a day, working out, all of that. And I was like, wait a minute, I was disciplined in it. And I woke up and was like, that's what it was. Discipline. Procrastination. Discipline. Doing it in a timely manner. Discipline. I realize that if there is something that I don't want to do, I will not do it. And if I am forced to do it, I'm going to half-ass do it because I don't want to do it. Why don't you want to do that, Shell? Because I start to get to the root. When you get to the root, I realize I talk with my hands too, but when you get to the root of a situation and you begin to understand, like, I really don't like you. You ever had that? You ever looked at somebody and be like, damn, I really don't like you? And it's not because it's like, maybe some people are really shitty. They really are. They just hide it really well. Maybe they do philanthropy things, like give, or like one thing that I really wish people would stop. You know those people that be like, "Oh, we're gonna go out here and feed the homeless, or we're gonna go out here and do this," and then they got cameras all in the people's face. Like, why? Why? For me, this is what I think when people do that. They're not really doing it from the innermost part of their heart. They don't. That's not why they really doing it. They doing it because they want to be seen. They want people to know. I, when I be doing things, I be real. I realize I did a podcast interview last Monday, and this is what I realized. I struggle with people complimenting me, and after I left the podcast, I had turmoil on the inside of me because I was trying to figure out why is it so hard for me to accept compliments, and then I realized the first compliment I got and how my life changed after that compliment. And in my mind, there's this thing like we don't accept compliments because of this is what comes with the compliments. There's always an ulterior motive with the compliments. And so my mind is just like, we don't accept compliments. We don't do that. This is what my mind is telling me. I cried. Nope. I wailed. I wailed for a long time. I didn't even know that I could cry for as long as I was crying. And I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. When you start to get to the root of things and you start to see how your decisions or decisions that was made for you or things that happen in your life create situations or it causes things to happen or it changes your thought process on things, I tell y'all, I cried, I wailed, and I was just like, you know what? I am going to start accepting compliments. I am going to start talking more about the things that I have done because I didn't talk about those things because I was so consumed with making sure that everybody around me is good, but I didn't focus on myself. And that's because when I told y'all the story about my mother, but I didn't mention this part where it's like I saw her take care of everybody else, but I've never seen her take care of herself. I saw my grandmother do the same thing, take care of everyone else, but I never seen her give to herself, do for herself. And when I thought about that, and then it got to me, and I was like, holy. No, I want people to see me taking care of myself. I want people to see me sleeping. I want people to see me like turning my phone off, do not disturb. I want people to see like me caring for myself. Because if they see me caring for myself, like I have nieces that's coming, nieces and nephews that's coming up. I want them to see me caring for myself because I want them to know the most important thing to them is caring for yourself. Being able to speak up for yourself, loving yourself, supporting yourself, encouraging yourself. I want them to see all of that. Because whether you believe it or not, they're watching. If you're a parent and you're staying in a relationship because you feel like that you're doing it for the kids, you're not. You're doing it for yourself. Get out. Because those kids going to grow up and they be like, we never liked the guy anyways. And we never liked the lady anyways. And if you already know. You probably look at the same situation with your parents. We never liked them anyways. We always thought he was bad for you anyways. Get out. I used to feel so bad because I was like, man, I wanted to go to Milwaukee Public Schools. I wanted to hang out with all the people that I know. But little did I realize that my mother was setting me up for greatness. Greatness. I'm not saying that I'm a millionaire or anything like that, but she set me up for greatness where I was in environments where I had options, where I could utilize the brain power, the intelligence, where I could utilize the things that I experienced in my household. That's why I was saying, like, I really felt like I was privileged because I came from a family that most people didn't come from families where the grandparents, like my grandmother made sure that we were good. She cooked like I didn't know what fast food was. Except for on my birthday that she would take us. That was like a tradition we did. We would go to Big Boys. But other than that, she cooked. Cooked. When I tell you like cooked like meals, like full course meals all the time. When we came home, we sat at the table. She asked us, how was our day? What was going on? What do we think? What do we want to do? And she would take us, even though sometimes she would take us to the thrift store. That's why I was thinking like, I would be so sharp going to the thrift store. I would never even go to a real store. because the thrift store had not a good time. It had everything, balling, and only be done spent $20. I'm telling you, my grandmother changed my perspective on a lot of things. But I was saying that because a lot of people's families weren't like that. Maybe they had a mother on drugs, or maybe the father wasn't there, or maybe the mother wasn't even there. Maybe they was raised by their grandparents. Maybe they were had them in their innocence stolen, or maybe they were being abused, or like really start to think about, like, if you really start to think about your life and the things that you experience, like when they say someone else is worse off than you, I think about that like, holy crap. Like I was thinking about when I was homeless, like, man, I don't got a place to stay. I don't got nothing. It was like my world was over with. But then I started looking around at all the people that didn't, that was been homeless and was like living, like enjoying a homeless life. That's no knock towards the homeless people. That's not my life. That's not me. I need stability. I need my own place. I need that. I realized that I need that. I realized that the thing that was missing out of my life was discipline and stability. And now at 42, going into 43, I have discipline, I have stability, I have courage, I have perseverance, I have all of those things. And you too can have all of those things. You just have to make the choice. Do you want to follow in the footsteps of the people that went before you, or you want to be you? Maybe you're not making a decision because you don't want your family members to laugh at you. Let them laugh. Because I guarantee you, if you do whatever it is that you have in your heart to do and you become a millionaire or you start being successful, guarantee you they're going to hop on the boat with you. Guarantee you they are. You start doing your own thing, you start being you, guarantee you they'll hop on the boat with you. I think about all the people that's like doing their own thing and people looking at them like, oh, I will never. If you had the opportunity, I'm pretty sure you will. Parents, I want to talk to you for a minute, right? If your parent was someone that was like really forceful on dating and marriage, and you gotta get married to this guy, or you gotta get married to this particular girl, and you gotta be the man, you gotta do all of this, I want you to just be you. I want you to encourage your child to be them. I don't want you to force your beliefs or your parents' belief, because that's what a lot of time it would be, our parents' belief, because we don't even know what we believe. We just believe what, I mean, hey. But I want you to allow your child the space. And I know that's saying a lot, because it's like, no, because I have to allow the child the space to talk to you. Allow your child the space to build a relationship with you. I know people say you shouldn't be your child's friend, but you should be your child's friend, because in 2023, if you are not your child's friend, someone will be your child's friend. And we don't want that someone to be your child's friend. We want you to be your child's friend. We want your child to come, child, teenager, grown ass adult, to come to you and talk to you about any and everything. I remember a couple of years ago when Smokey Norfolk, his son had come and laid on him or whatever, and everybody was going around, he shouldn't be laying on him and all of that. And I was like, that's the problem. If more men were hugged by their fathers or hugged by their mothers, they wouldn't be out here feeling, I'm a man, so I can't cry, I can't do it. If more people took the time to hug each other, if parents, and I keep saying parents because that's where it starts for me. It starts in your household. Think about all those kids that went to school and did those horrible things at school because people made fun of them or because people was treating them wrongly. If we teach our the next generations about understanding other people are not going to be like you. Everybody's not going to look like you. Everybody's not going to dress like you, sound like you, talk like you, walk like you. And we definitely need to teach them to not follow people. Teach them to be individuals. Teach them to stand on their own instead of like following with the crowd, because a lot of times people are innocent bystanders just from hanging out with the crowd. Teach them to be so secure with themselves that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. If we gave more positive things to our children, to the next generations, there would be a lot less unalivings. There would be a lot less domestic violence. And I know you're like, how could you say that? Because think about it. What is at the root of all of that? People feel rejected, people feeling hurt, people, if we shared that, and I'm not saying that that's going to be the end all to be all, but there would be a lot less if we encourage people to go get mental health, get assessed for mental health, take care of themselves, go to the hospital, get regular checkups, eat better, work out. If we encourage people to take care of themselves, to love themselves, it's a part of loving yourself. Like we'd be like, oh, I love ourselves. Oh, I really love myself. I really do love it. And then you know that you are lactose intolerant, but you still be eating ice cream, eating sour cream and cheese and dairy and all of those things. You don't really love yourself. Shell, did you just say people that do that don't love themselves? No, they don't. Because you would be mindful of what you put in yourself. And I be talking to myself about this all the time. I used to be like, man, I got to go here. I used to eat fatty foods. And now that I think about it, like, I'm like, I don't even eat half of the stuff that I was eating. You know, like when you're younger, it's like, oh, you're going to lose your sweet tooth. Like, I was looking like I wanted to get some Kool-Aid. And I was like, do you know the amount of sugar that you put in Kool-Aid? The candy that I used to eat when I can't eat that. I can't. I don't want to eat that. Remember, you be snacking on little Debbie cakes and all that stuff. I don't want to eat that now. Like right now, I'm preparing my body because I want to go like full alkaline, full. That's just what I want to do. But I say to transition from eating regular foods. I don't even eat regular foods, but y'all know it's the transition from here to get to there. I want to do cabbage, and there's this good this delicious looking cabbage recipe that I want to do. And so I'm going to go get that, and then I'm going to transition. I'm going to start working out again. I'm going to start doing all of those things. And if you know, I wasn't working out because I had a major surgery, but I'll tell you all about that, more about that on Friday. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Um, Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Every Sunday at 7, I'm right here having a nurturing conversation. That's all I got for this conversation. Hopefully, I said something that encouraged you, inspired you, motivated you to change, to make the choice to change. Hopefully, something I said was positive. Something I said inspired you to start your YouTube, start a podcast, start that business. Something I said was helpful to you. Remember that it is important for you to use your words. That is the only way that anyone will ever know what you are feeling or what you are thinking. Also, remember that it is important for you to love yourself. Love yourself. That includes your faults, your fears, your failures. Know yourself. Trust yourself. That small voice, that loud voice, that rumble in the pit of your stomach, the goosebumps that be on it. Trust yourself. And for the love of humanity, just be yourself. Why? Because you need you. I need you. This great big old world needs you to be exactly who you were created to be. Not who we want you to be so that you can feel loved or liked. Because if anybody do not love or like you for being authentically you, they do not deserve to be in your space. You should set that boundary and stand 10 toes down on it. Now, make sure that you get your toiletries, non-perishable food items, water, disinfectants, have some cash money, some coins to the side, get you some candles, some matches, some batteries, a crank radio, get you all of these, because if you haven't already, go ahead and Google what is going on in Ohio. You shall see. What bank crashed today? You shall see. Are we headed for a, you know where I'm going. Check that out. Google, pick up a newspaper, because news outlets, they're not talking about that. They're talking about the latest celebrity, all that stuff. Stay abreast of what's going on in the world. Check out what's happening over in China, Africa, all the other countries. We need to be prepared. Be prepared. We are in a global fucking pandemic. I don't know why I feel like I have to say that word every time I say that. But while we are there, if you are an adult doing an adult situation, please make sure that you wrap it up, because STD rates are they're growing. I'm just gonna say that at the all-time high. They are growing as despite being in a global pandemic. See, I didn't say it. I didn't say it right there, but it's okay. That's all I got. If you haven't, remember, if you haven't, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Next Sunday at 7, I'll be right here. We're gonna have another nurturing conversation. I hope that you enjoyed this. Join me back here at 10. I probably do like 30 minutes of the gospel karaoke and then start my meditation at 10:30. Actually, you can join me here at 9:30. So I go from 9:30 to 10, and then 10:30 I'll start the meditation. That's all I got. I love you. Until next time. Peace.